Hi, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of the Plagiarwriters Podcast. I'm your host, Nick. Today's episode answers the age-old question, who would win in a fight between Kevin, from Home Alone, and the Predator? I wrote this script on my iPhone notes over the course of a month or so, and as you're about to hear, it's a jumbled mess of grammatical errors and spelling mistakes. Originally, we were going to shop this idea around to a bunch of different podcast networks as a pilot, but after a slew of video and audio issues, we just decided to put it up on the internet and see what happens. So, without further ado, I present to you Home Alone, Kevin vs. Predator. Hope you like it. Hi, welcome to the very first episode of Plagiarwriters, giving you the movies and TV shows you never knew you wanted. That's my tag. What do you think?
I like it.
We'll workshop it.
Yeah.
It
Works.
With me is Sam and George. I'm Nick.
Howdy.
We're going to be reading Home Alone, Kevin vs. Predator. Now, a lot of people... This is... we're gonna keep going.
It's a late reaction. It's like a high-pitched squeal.
My set just fell apart. It's the third time I've...
Dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna get super laser focused. I'm gonna feel something over my shoulder, turn around, and see the corner of Mark Hamill's face, and just lose my shit.
It's worth watching the video feed for those people listening through audio. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so who would win between Kevin and the Predator is a question that's been asked before. There was Mr. Sunday Movies did a whole thing. I don't know if you guys know that podcast. They talk about Star Wars and things. They have this little thing. I assure you, this is completely different though. But yeah, we've been
Original.
We've been trying to do this forever. Our original plan was when Predator came out. The script's been done for a really long time. We were like, when Predator comes out, and then it became before Christmas, then it became just after Christmas. And now it's just at some point. Well, anyway, here we are. Where are my notes? Yeah, it's been a good year for Home Alone. We got Macaulay Culkin just doing things again. We got those Google ads.
Just dudes being nice.
Dude, he's just a dude being a guy.
Dude. He's a dude first, guy second, and he pulls them both off miraculously.
It's a beautiful man. God bless him.
He's
God bless him, Macaulay Culkin.
He's been on a ton of YouTube things and podcasts, so
hit us up, Macaulay, please.
Sign my paint can.
And it's been an okay year for Predator. We got a movie. It is a movie. That's we can confirm that
It was in theaters.
Slow down.
we got a Christmas special that was okay. And I'm sure other stuff, other Predator related things happen. I mean,
I thought I saw Adrian Brody at a supermarket once.
Oh,
I didn't see him at a supermarket, but I thought I did.
Yeah.
So it's technically related.
Yeah, that's Predator related.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, also another thing to get out of the way.
Fuck Adrian Brody.
This is a Home Alone movie that just has a Predator. So we're using the Home Alone rules. It's going for that cool PG rating. Yeah. All right, we'll start it off.
Like the 80s PG or the 90s PG?
90s PG. Okay. I mean,
there is a difference. There's a big difference.
Yeah.
So this one takes place the Christmas after the events of Home Alone 2. I think that's kind of all the setup we need. George, do you want to start us off?
Sure, yes. Yeah. So we have Home Alone, Kevin vs. Predator, with the tagline, "In space, no one can hear Kevin scream." Exterior, the atmosphere. We open with a classic shot from the first Predator film. The ship enters the atmosphere as a chilling score plays as we fade to black. The score mixes with the melody of the Home Alone theme. Interior, government base, moments later. We cut to a stereotypical government base with rows of people behind monitors and a map of the U.S. and comically large analog TV.
Wait, Sam,
What is a stereotypical government base?
literally anything from the 80s and 90s where it's like, dun, 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 and like it's got the...
It's underground. There's a lot of
No,
concrete.
it's shaped like circles and stuff like that. It looks
Everyone's
like
angry within it.
all the time.
Like the massive, the tape decks.
Yeah.
That's a computer.
There's spinny things and analog computers and...
Matthew Broderick's there for some reason.
It's everywhere for unknown reasons.
A man sits in a chair, nodding off. Just as he closes his eyes, his screen begins to flash, and the base comes alive with the sound of alarms and bells. The computer guy jumps up, throwing the chair back. Interior, Sergeant Gray's office, moments later. We see the silhouette of Sergeant Gray, who seems to be mid-phone call.
You can tell this Wayland he can kiss my ass. We don't care if the robots act like people. We need killing machines, like that Omni one.
There's a muffled talk on the other end. Computer guy bursts into the room, waving a piece of paper.
Sir!
Gray holds up a finger.
Oh yeah? Cyberdyne said they'll do it for half.
He hangs up the phone and leans into the light, revealing his stern-looking face.
What's so damn important? We got one.
I'd like to point, while we're turning the pages, that implies that Home Alone is in the same universe as Terminator, Alien, and RoboCop.
Holy shit.
Yeah, right?
John Hughes, what a guy.
What a guy.
Gray snaps upright. He's shocked, almost angered by the statement.
Where?
The computer guy looks over his notes for a second as we pull up to a close-up on his face. Beads of sweat running down to his chin.
Winnetka, Illinois. I think that's how you say it. I don't know.
It's Winnetka.
Winnetka. I don't know. It's some... Alright. Winnetka, Illinois. I like wrote...
Why did you write this and not knowing how to say
Because
it?
I googled it. I was like, where did they film it? Like Winnetka, Illinois.
Wait, that's a real place?
Yeah, I guess it's a real...
Yeah.
Also, we never said... I wrote this. This is an original script written by me. George is reading all the big things because I have dyslexia and will just stutter the whole time, and it'll be a really bad time for everybody. Yeah, we're not caught.
I'm everyone else.
Yeah, wait, so...
I do things.
Wait, so I'm doing narrator, I'm also doing Kevin's mother and the Predator.
And others.
And then there's a miscellaneous crew. Don't want to spoil anything, but it gets good. Okay. Interior. Kevin's living room, morning. We cut to a view of a winter sky through smudged window as what looks like a shooting star passes overhead. Once it passes, we pull back as the Christmas classic Christmas, Baby Please Come Home by Darlene Love overwhelms the score, and the title Home Alone, Kevin vs. Predator covers the screen. We pull back a little further till a torso holding two glasses.
Wait. Sam, sorry, Sam. You look like you have something to say.
Covers the screen.
Alright, okay, oh my god. This is gonna be different.
It's good. It's fine. I'm cool. It's cool. I'm cool.
What would you have said?
Covers the screen with an S. It doesn't cover the screen. It covers the screen.
There's-
Covers the screen.
There's a lot of typos in this. Yeah, there will most certainly be a different version on our website, plagiarwriters.com or net, whatever. I don't know. Domains are expensive. Yeah. Anyway, where were we?
We were at cover the screen.
I'm good. I'm cool.
We pull back a little further till a torso holding two glasses filled with eggnog comes into frame. We follow it for a beat before the camera pulls back, revealing that it was in fact Kate McAllister, aka Kevin's mom, carrying the glasses. She hands the glass off to Peter, aka Kevin's dad. The whole McAllister clan is there, all 15 plus. Everyone's sitting around the Christmas tree, all yelling over each other. Kevin's brother Buzz hands Kevin a very poorly wrapped rifle-shaped gift. Kevin tears through the paper with glee.
Wow, Buzz, a BB gun!
Upon examining it for a beat, Kevin notices the various dings and gets noticeably less excited.
Your BB gun.
I think you're fine. This is awkward.
Buzz doesn't match his disappointment and grins with pride.
I'm sorry. I think you're finally old enough, little bro.
Why? Also does the dad, but I think this is the only time that happens. I think this is the only time Buzz is in.
Kevin, we're sorry about last year, and well, the year before that.
We promise you, Kevin, that it will never happen again. We're here for you, all of us, because no one should be alone on Christmas.
This is part of the score.
Dude, we're gonna get copyrighted.
I can't lose my house again. Emphasis on again.
She hands Kevin a small box, roughly 4x6.
I don't know why I specified the size. It's important for mental vision. Anyway.
Kevin unwraps it to find a family photo in a very ornate silver frame. Kevin looks up to find his whole family smiling back at him. It is a very warm moment as the melody begins to swell. However, the moment is killed when Buzz unwraps the gift already in his hand. It's a copy of Mortal Kombat 2 for the Sega Genesis. He jumps up in excitement.
No way! Mortal Wombat!
Good. I'm fine with that.
Suddenly, all the other kids erupt with
Copyright.
excitement.
We're free.
That's not how copyright works.
Suddenly, all the other kids erupt with excitement, with the exception of Kevin, who looks at the photo, and we slowly zoom in on the picture where Kevin sits, dead center, complete with his signature half smile. Exterior, Kevin's yard, noon. Cars carrying Kevin's extended family begin to pull out of his driveway as the core McAllister family, Mom, Dad, Kevin, and Buzz.
Okay, wait. All right. I'm sorry. I need to confess. We did a commentary thing for Patreon, and I watched the movie before writing this, but I didn't realize until after that Kevin has other siblings besides Buzz.
Yeah, like 13.
No, he's got
one sister.
No, he's got two. He's got a sister and a brother that we just didn't notice.
Oh, shit.
But yeah, I'm sorry if you're a hardcore, we'll call her Susie McAllister fan, but she's not in this.
Okay.
There's
Got
that
it.
one guy who's just like obscenely angry.
What about this? What if this is one of those family situations where they just send off the girls to go hang out with their uncle or their aunt or something for New
Isn't that what
Year's?
they did in the 50s when like somebody would get pregnant? Like,
Well, we're starting with some light fan theories early on.
Okay, yeah. Susie is expecting child.
What?
I don't know why the brothers.
Is this canon?
Oh, shit.
Is there a little McAllister on the way? Is that canon?
Is that what the reboot's gonna look like?
Oh man, that would be better than what they did when they
What's
just.
the difference between Home Alone canon and Home Alone expanded universe?
This
there a
is
difference
this is
between
Home
the
Alone
two?
expanded universe. Home Alone canon picks up in 2005, where Kevin is mysteriously 11 years old again, and they keep the movies going.
And also, French Stewart plays both Harry and Marv.
God.
Hey, wait a second.
Just saying.
I forgot that was a thing.
Let's see. Where were we? The core McAllister family, Mom, Dad, Kevin, and Buzz, issuing various farewells and see you next year's. Interior, Buzz's room. Nude. God, I'm falling apart. Buzz and Kevin sit on the floor button mashing Mortal Kombat 2.
Dancing. Got you now, true breath.
Buzz hits a series of buttons causing Sub-Zero to do his infamous spinal cord rip. Kevin cringes at the sight of this.
You think he keeps him after? Like a trophy or something?
Yes, Buzz, I think this made-up character inside this made-up video game has a room full of spines, and it gets bigger every time you beat me.
Buzz fails to catch the sarcasm in Kevin's tone.
Huh? Bet that room's pretty full by now.
Let's go outside or something.
I have an idea. Let's go hunting.
I don't know, Buzz. My big game license just expired.
Come on, it'll be fun. What did fishing game ever do for you?
Exterior, woods, moments later.
What is that in reference to?
I have severe issues with fishing game. They're terrifying.
Okay.
They can demand entry into your home to look through your fridge.
So page
That is the most
Awesome.
That is the most powerful government agency. I do not care.
So page 4 is where we get political.
It's not even political. It's just like they're too powerful.
Exterior, woods, moments later. Kevin and Buzz walk through the woods in puffy snow jackets. Buzz, sporting a coonskin hat, carries the arrow. Do you want me to say coonskin cap?
Yeah, all right. So I got in an argument with somebody who was reading this for me. He's like cap. It's coonskin cap. I'm like, it's a hat. It's coonskin cap. I don't know. We had. What's your take on
Coonskin cap. Coonskin cap, I think flows better, but like it is indeed a hat. But at the same
That's
time,
what the Wikipedia says. It says coonskin cap. Coonskin cap is a hat.
yeah, I mean, yeah. So
Anybody
like,
can edit Wikipedia,
cap is
though.
like a subcategory of hat. So you're just being broad, but it works. Coonskin hat. God, I want one so bad.
I do too.
Oh my god.
Support us on Patreon, and we'll get Sam a coonskin cap
Please.
or hat.
It's getting real cold.
whoever buys it for him will decide what we call it from here on out. That's I'm gonna make that a tier.
A word every episode.
As long as you don't
Please
name it
don't.
Patty McCatface or something.
Send us fan art of Hattie McCatface. Please.
Please don't. I know where this goes. I've been on Tumblr. Don't do it.
Anyway, do you want to read that line again?
Yeah. Kevin and Buzz walk through the woods in puffy snow jackets. Buzz, sporting a coonskin cap, carries a... I'm so sorry.
I knew this when you said cap. I'm like, he's not gonna make it.
Just thinking
I
in my head.
wouldn't make
oh,
it.
no. Sporting a coonskin hat, carries the air rifle.
I don't know, Buzz. Alfie eats cats. Sure, he's funny and all, but I couldn't trust him to house sit. What's he good for?
We then cut to a shot from above, in the trees, in Predator's signature thermal vision.
You don't think it'd be cool to have an alien as a best friend? Like an E.T.?
We return to the shot from before, in normal vision.
It would be, but the risk to reward is way off. Like I need the government breathing down my neck.
Wait!
Buzz abruptly sticks his arm up, stopping Kevin in his tracks. He gestures for Kevin to be quiet, then points. We pull back to reveal a squirrel snacking on a nut about 20 feet away. Buzz lines up his sight.
Wait, Buzz. How about instead, let's not shoot him?
Cut to Predator vision as it locks onto the squirrel, then pans over to Buzz. Yellow line outlines him before highlighting his weapon. He's now a fair target. Return to standard vision.
Quit being such a coward. Just pretend it's a tin can.
Cut to Predator vision as Kevin runs over and pushes Buzz, saving the squirrel. However, the BB gun fires anyway. The stray bullet goes flying straight towards us. The screen goes fuzzy for a second before coming back on. We cut to a reverse shot revealing it hitting the Predator in the eye. We cut back to Kevin and Buzz resting in the snow when they are suddenly interrupted by a loud and horrifying roar, causing them both to look up as we pull into a close-up of their faces, both of them looking into the camera. There's a tense moment as they lay there frozen. We do a reverse shot to show the Predator signature shimmer landing in the snow.
Run!
Kevin and Buzz get up and take off. The Predator stands there assessing his targets, allowing them to gain a bit of distance. After all, he's doing this for sport, before letting out a bellowing roar and leaping back into the trees. The two boys run for a while before passing the tree line with the house in sight. They stop and sigh a breath of relief. The celebration proves to be premature as we hear the Predator's signature clicking noise seconds before he comes out of his shimmer directly beneath them. Behind their knives out, he slashes Buzz across the stomach, and he slashes the... There's so much to read. I feel like I need a bookmark. He slashes Buzz across the stomach. It's not fatal, but enough to cause him to collapse in pain. At this, Kevin slaps his hands on his cheeks and lets out his trademark scream. Ah! As he does this, the Predator recoils with surprise, causing him to go back into his shimmer and run away. We cut to Kevin's mom at the kitchen table as we hear Kevin's muffled cry for help. She jumps out of her seat and looks out to the window to see Kevin cradling Buzz. She runs out to them. Oh my god!
It was an alien!
Not now, Kevin!
I don't know why you would decide it was an alien. Like,
what would you do if you were 11?
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. No, the logic checks. I wrote this. The logic checks out.
Kevin's dad runs out and Kevin gets pushed to the side. Does Kevin's dad just like push him
Shoved him to the ground?
Kevin's like, ah! And then the dad like pushes him to the
I
side.
feel like it just like goes up, like grabs his head, just shoves him over and runs.
Because you're not good at football.
Now we know which one's the favorite, or was the favorite.
Some of this stem from real life, partially fact-based.
This is canon,
based on a true story,
based on incredible true events,
with none of the alien, but more of the getting shoved by father.
Exterior, Kevin's yard, evening. EMTs cart Buzz away as Kevin's mom stands there, tears streaming down her face. Her husband walks up, hugs her. Then holds her at arm's length.
The EMT said he'll be okay. It was a close one. They think it was a mountain lion or something, but he'll probably need surgery. I'm gonna take the car. Want to ride in the ambulance?
Okay. Kevin's mom looks up at the treehouse, which has light.
Did I spell it wrong?
No, you didn't know. I'm so sorry that you assumed that. I'm so sorry.
Stop being fun.
Kevin's mom looks up at the treehouse, which has light leaking from the window.
It wasn't a mountain lion. It was an alien.
Kevin, will you stop? Your brother's lucky to be alive, and you're going to be on about aliens and monsters.
It wasn't a monster.
Kevin peers from the window.
It was an alien.
So certain.
Kevin's mom inhales sharply, trying to hold back her frustration. We're going to the hospital. There's a brief silence as she stares up at the treehouse for a second. If you're going to behave like a child, you can stay here. She begins to walk away.
Go ahead and leave.
She stops in her tracks.
It's Christmas. That's what you do.
She turns around and looks up, tears welling in her eyes. She opens her mouth to say something, but chokes on her words, and turns away before she can begin to cry. Interior, Kevin's treehouse. Moments later.
Just took a deep breath, seeing all the description.
Also, before the can begin to cry.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I didn't even
It wasn't
notice.
his fault.
It's going to be different. It's going to be different on the website.
I just had to read it twice. It made me chuckle.
Before they came
I have a reading comprehension level of a 4th grader. Cut me a break.
Interior, Kevin's treehouse, months later. Kevin sits in the corner staring at the picture he received earlier. As the theme swells, Kevin looks up where it is revealed that he has newspaper articles and clippings depicting the events of first and second films. Wet bandits caught by a child? And so on and so forth. Kevin gets up and looks out the window just in time to see an ambulance pulling away. He then hears the predator's clicking noise. He sticks his head out the window to see the predator's footprints forming in snow on the edge of the property line before he comes out of his shimmer. Kevin ducks behind the tree wall and does the Home Alone scream again.
Ah! Also, I thought I had some justification for that in the movies. It was like, I swear he does like more than once within 5 minutes of each other in the movie, but I could be wrong on that. Don't quote me. Don't watch the movie. Don't do research. Anyway, this part right here is the first part I wrote. That made me want to do the whole thing. So
This part coming up.
Yeah, this part coming up. Yeah.
Interior, Kevin's house, night. Mischievous music plays while Kevin wheels the TV to the front door. He glares at the window before turning on the TV, grabbing the remote, and running into another room. The TV hums with static as an all-too-familiar scene on the tape labeled Angels with the Filthiest Souls appears.
Is this a man or a woman?
It's a man. It's that scene that he's like,
Oh,
I'm gonna
yeah.
give you the count of 10. Yeah.
Who is it?
Silence as the film fast-forwards.
I tell I tell you what I'm gonna give you, Snakes. I'm gonna give you to the count of 10 to get your lousy, no good yellow keister off my property before I pump your guts for a lid.
Silence.
1, 2, 10.
The counting is interrupted by a laser blast blowing a hole in the door, causing the TV to explode and the 10 warps and distorts.
It's like in 90s.
The door swings open. The door swings open to reveal a shimmering cloak of the Predator as he enters Kevin's house. We cut to a POV shot. The Predator looks around for a moment using his thermal vision as the scanner zooms around, the text scanning in the corner of the display before going back to static and reading error, and going completely black. We cut back to our close-up from before as the Predator deactivates his shimmer to reveal a crack in the right eye of his mask. He takes it off, revealing his wounded eye, already beginning to glass over. The Predator lets out a roar before advancing a few steps towards the stairs. His stride is interrupted by paint cans zooming towards him.
Please send my paint can, Macaulay. Please.
His shoulder-mounted laser quickly locks on, turning it to ash before it can make contact. He takes a moment, surveying the land before a series of thuds are heard as the BB gun comes crashing down the stairs. The beast watches it. Another trick? Just then, Kevin's disembodied voice comes echoing through the air vents.
Listen, Mr. Alien Guy. I'm sorry about this morning. How was I supposed to know you were hunting the same squirrel? I don't know about gun safety I don't know how gun safety works on your planet, but we know better than the stand down rage of a boy and his trusty Red Rider here. Anyways, I'm sorry. If you want to hunt me and skin me alive or whatever, that's fine. But at least let's make this a fair fight.
It's a really large leap to make. He immediately assumes the thing wants to skin him alive. That's the first assumption.
Well, he's a kid.
What he just played Mortal Kombat.
Also, he's Kevin. He might be a sociopath. He's like, this is what I do with my trophies. Yeah. When's the last time you've seen him barf?
Oh my god.
Joe Pesci's.
Dude, did Macaulay Culkin scalp Joe Pesci?
Actually, he did with fire.
Oh, he did!
Yeah.
Still sign my pink.
Please. We'd love to have you on the show. Please come anytime.
To Joe Pesci or Macaulay Culkin?
Both.
Anybody.
I fucking love Joe Pesci.
Anybody listening to this, please.
To the guy who played Buzz?
Sure. Yeah, no, come on. Guy who played Buzz.
We'll remember your name for the next episode. Sorry.
I'll just blurt it out at some point.
The Predator does an exasperated head roll as he slaps a button on the shoulder of his chest. armor causing steam to erupt from the seams as it falls off. However, his arm bends back straight fully attached.
Oh, his armbands.
His armbands, okay.
Yeah,
His
yeah,
armbands
I like that.
stay fully attached. Got that.
Yeah.
He then takes a couple steps up the stairs and looking around as he does. However, he fails to notice the second paint can coming zooming back. It hits him square in the face, causing him to be launched back. He lets out a groan-esque as he lays there. Kevin ducks out from behind a wall upstairs.
Ooh, that's gotta hurt.
He ducks behind the wall. The predator gets up, drooping its head, proceeds to make its way up the stairs where he finds the door to the attic open. He makes his way up slowly. Once he gets up, he notices a silhouette standing at the edge of space of the room. He crouches, approaching slowly. Once he gets close enough, he lets out a roar and extends his arm knives, then promptly jumps in the air and comes down on the figure, stabbing clean through it. He pulls it close, revealing it is too far thin to be a human being. We cut to over the shoulder shot to reveal a victim to be a cardboard cutout of Bulls player Michael Jordan. We then hear
Predator's a Knicks fan.
He has it in the movie. He has like a cardboard cutout of Michael Jordan, and it comes up a lot in the first one. So I figured, why not bring it back? It's like this is my Force Awakens. I just shoehorn any reference I can into it. But yeah,
The whole goal is
The
to
fans will
to
like it.
feed off the nostalgia.
yes, that is my only plan.
We then hear creaking. The predator looks down and notices it, and standing on the drywall before falling right through it. Interior, hospital waiting room, night. We find Kevin's mom pacing back and forth in the empty waiting room of the hospital, with a worried, almost sick look on her face. Kevin's father comes into the room.
They just got him out of surgery. Luckily, they were attacked and missed his vital organs.
Oh, thank God. Did they say what got him?
That didn't sound very fun.
Dude, it's 2019.
They're still not sure. The doctor said the cuts were way too clean to be an animal.
Just once, I'd love to have a normal Christmas. She then puts her head in the hand and begins to cry. Kevin's dad gives her a hug.
Why don't you head home and check on Kevin? I'll stay here in case the doctor needs me.
Okay, I'll call you when I get there. She begins to walk out the door when she's stopped by an armored guard in full military attire posted by the door. Excuse me,
Sorry, ma'am, but I can't let you leave this room.
what's the meaning of this? On the other side of the swing door steps Sergeant Gray.
I'm afraid you're...
He's tired now. Those listening to audio, it's really worth watching the video.
Can we change his name to Captain Gray now?
Please.
Captain Gray.
A fucking pirate. I'm especially like three
That would explain everything.
I'm afraid your son's wound was infected with a unique form of rabies. Until we can establish how else the disease can be transmitted, this hospital's on total lockdown.
I need to get by. My son is home alone.
We will dispatch a detail to inspect the property to locate the animal and look after young Kevin McAllister.
The sergeant begins to walk deeper into the hospital. Kevin's mother attempts to pursue him, but stopped by the soldier. How did you know his name? Gray ignores her as he rounds a corner to a room guarded by two soldiers. Both salute him. He enters the room where we find a lucid Buzz lying on bed as an army doctor administers a shot. The doctor steps away as Gray enters and salutes him.
Status.
He's lucid, but he won't remember this conversation.
Very good. As you were.
The doctor leaves the room as Gray hunches over Buzz, who locks eyes with him.
Now, you're going to tell me everything you saw.
Interior, Buzz's room, night.
Do you want to take a quick break so we can collect our side? I feel like we need a minute. Am I wrong?
You have no idea. For some reason, between all different voices I've done, I've been trying to, like, remember what each one sounds like, and I butchered it every single time. I was a fucking
We're gonna
pirate.
take a quick break.
I was a pirate for a hot second.
Stop the camera.
Captain Gray.
Hey everybody, hope you're enjoying the show so far. If you are, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have all sorts of fun things on there, from monthly movie commentary to messy, unedited scripts. So, if you feel like supporting us, you can find us on patreon.com/plagiarwriters. That's patreon.com/PLAGIARWRITERS. God, that's a long one. And if you want to keep up with us on social media, you can find us at Plagiarwriters on everything. Without further ado, let's get back to the show.
And we're back. So on the break, I checked to look at some of the footage, and it turns out we don't have any. The camera stopped recording 10 minutes in, so we'll put those first 10 minutes on the YouTube video, but other than that, this is now an audio-only podcast till we can get a camera that records longer than 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. One of these days.
That'd be nice. Anyway, where were we?
We can't have nice things.
Apparently not.
So we were on page 11, right in the middle here. Interior, Buzz's room, night. Predator lays on the floor, surrounded by debris. He looks over and notices Buzz's tarantula crawling by. He gets up and heads back out to find Kevin waiting at the bottom of the stairs. Kevin seems almost taken aback by the Predator's physical appearance.
Wow, and I thought Buzz's girlfriend was ugly.
The Predator growls as the music builds. It takes a step forward. We cut to Kevin's face as he cocks a smile. Then we cut to a close-up of one of the steps, littered with little toy cars, about halfway down the staircase.
Come on, I can smell you from here.
Kevin plugs his nose and begins waving his hand over his mouth. The Predator steps down slowly, not breaking eye contact.
Just one more.
The Predator steps down on one of the cars, causing him to slip and slide down the steps. At the very last second, Kevin throws back the door and then slams it shut. He turns his back so it's resting on the door.
Time to get to work.
Cue a rock cover of Sweet Silver Bells as we cut around the house.
That's like public domain, so I can do that. Dun, dun, dun,
The sounds of someone's murder. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Cue to a rock cover of Sweet Silver Bells as we cut around the house, finding Kevin setting up various traps, tying strings, propping up cardboard cutouts, etc., etc. Lastly, he stands in the living room looking down at the Predator's armor vest. Fade to black. Interior, Kevin's basement, night. The Predator bursts into the door. He surveys the land before making his way up the stairs. He puts his weight on the first step, then second. When he pushes down on the step, then second, but when he pushes down on step, a squish is heard. He looks down and notices both steps are covered in black rubber tar. He sighs before grabbing his foot with both hands and begins pulling up. After some of the time, a crack is heard and the Predator lifts his foot to reveal the stairpiece stuck to it. Cut to interior, Kevin's kitchen, seconds later. We find ourselves as a close-up of a record player with the record already spinning. The needle is lowered down to Kevin's. We then cut to the doorway as Rocking Around the Christmas Tree by Brenda Lee begins to play. Predator steps into view and finds mannequins dancing around in a similar fashion to the first Home Alone. He looks around confused before reaching into a pair of goggles from his ammo belt. We then cut to a POV shot as he looks around the room. After some searching, he notices Kevin's heat signature in the corner, waving the ropes as he did in the first film. We then cut to Kevin wearing a huge down jacket, standing like a cowboy. He lingers for a beat before a look of worry dawns his face. The Predator reaches behind his back, producing 3 throwing discs. He immediately throws them and they fly straight for Kevin's chest. They hit him, launching him to the wall with a thud.
Kevin is dead. End of podcast.
God, I'm out of breath. I've got 2 more pages.
Take a break, champ.
Whew. Just take a sip of water real quick. The Predator stands over Kevin triumphantly as feathers waft through the air. We cut to Kevin, discs in his chest, laying limp for a beat. Suddenly, his eyes shoot open. Predator tilts his head, confused as Kevin throws off his jacket, revealing the Predator's oversized laser vest protecting him. We then hear faint beeping as the shoulder cannons pop out of the shoulder and lock onto the Predator.
Say cheese.
You playing Angry Birds?
Happy Bird, okay.
No.
The mounted cannon fires, launching the alien into the ceiling. He then promptly falls to the ground, drywall falling after him. Kevin grins and attempts to get up. After a couple attempts, he realizes the vest is too heavy. He hits the button on the side, causing it to fall to pieces as steam erupts up. He gets up and dusts himself off. He notices a slew of gadgets on the ground. He picks up a handful of them at one point, holding a flintlock pistol before throwing it aside.
As a reference to Second Predator. They do that in the movie. Somebody just gives him, like, it's Danny Glover, right? Yeah, they just give Danny Glover a gun and they're like, here. One of the Predators does.
A flintlock?
Yeah, it's the Second Predator.
Are you sure it was a flintlock?
Yes, it was a flintlock. There was a whole like expanded universe comic about how one of them hunted a pirate and stuff, but
The ancestor of Captain Gray.
has not been promoted. But
Just saying.
actually, that's not a bad idea. Gosh darn it. So I wanted you to read it before we did this.
But it's all about the pants. It's all about the pants. Predator begins to stir, causing Kevin to jump up in shock and start up the stairs.
Dance.
What? Wait, what did you just say?
Sorry, that a minor stroke. My bad. I'm okay now.
We're gonna rewind that part.
Dude, I'm gonna rewind that part.
Support us on Patreon so we can make merch, and my promise to you is that will be on a shirt
What did I
within the
just
end
say?
of this year. He goes, the bands will make her dance.
See, I thought he said dance, monkey, dance.
What?
That makes even less sense.
That's what
I
I'm
didn't know
saying.
you could do that.
Well, this podcast is over.
But every time you donate, that's the sound that hits.
Dance, monkey, dance.
You know, like those Twitch Prime people, they have like a dog barking or something. Like, you've donated $4.
Is that a thing on page? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yet to set up our Patreon.
Give it time. If Mr. Patreon is listening, we
Mr.
got ideas.
Patreon.
Mm-hmm. The Predator begins to stir, causing Kevin to jump up in shock and start up the stairs. Once he reaches the top, he looks down to see the Predator, leading with a noticeable limp, making his way to the staircase.
Ah!
Kevin begins to look
It's
through
a script. Everybody at home, that is in. I wrote but could have wrote Kevin screams.
Kevin begins to look through his stack of gadgets before tossing what looks like a handful of marbles down the stairs. They land at the Predator's feet. 8 mechanical legs pop out as the spears transform into metallic spiders and scurry away. The Predator continues limping up the stairs angrily. Kevin then produces a stack of metal throwing discs, which he haphazardly throws at his assailant. The Predator's wrist knives extend as he slips away with ease. He then lets out a loud roar and continues a low growl as he continues up the stairs. The Predator is pissed. Kevin runs down the halls, the angry alien.
As the angry alien, I really like that too. I like the game Hungry Hippos.
It's because there's a lot of redundancies. There's been a lot of redundancies in the script. I don't know if you noticed, continues is probably in that paragraph we just read like 4 times. So I was trying to change it up, and angry alien just. Whatever. I don't have to defend myself.
Finish your drink.
on the table.
Oh yeah, there was a good visual bit we had set up where we had jelly beans and wine glasses, but guess nobody will ever see it. Fuck.
Interior, Kevin's room, seconds later. Kevin runs into his room, slamming the door behind him and looks around desperately, before locking his eyes onto a window. He reaches under a desk adjacent to the window and grabs a length of rope with a loop at the end. He opens the window where he sees the treehouse. He slings his lasso, throwing it, but it lands in the snow.
So I feel like I didn't clarify. I like in my mental image of it. There's like a branch that he's trying to throw it onto because he does that weird hang glide thing in like the first movie. So he's doing that again. He's learned, and now he just keeps the rope.
Okay.
Yeah.
We hear thud. Predator has reached the door. Kevin hastily pulls the rope up and begins to spin it again. Thud. He throws it, and yet again he misses. Thud. Kevin pulls it back up. He quickly glances over his shoulder just as the Predator's fist, knives extended, launches through the door.
It's just gonna stop you like playing with the Legos.
Oh, I wish.
Alright, Sam, no more beans.
No, you're cut off. We've taken away Sam's beans, and there goes Sam.
He looks really sad. Like, he looks legitimately like he's gonna cry.
I like my beans.
I've offered Sam some beans.
Yeah, there were no yellows.
I've offered Sam more beans. There's a yellow in. Gosh. Remember, we were like, hey, let's hang out. We'll read this thing.
Oh,
That'd be
yeah.
nice.
I'll feel we're not here for the beans.
Not all of us are here for the beans.
Kevin pulls it back up. He quickly glances over his shoulder just as the Predator's fist, knives extended, launches through the door. The arm pulls back as the Predator lowers himself to look through the freshly ripped hole in the door. Kevin quickly looks through the pile of gadgets on the desk. He holds up one that kind of looks like a lightsaber. He spins around and points it at the door before pressing a button on the side. Much to his surprise, the top pile-like object opens up and a cable flies out, lodging itself in the wall just to the left of the doorframe. It quickly dawns on him that it is some sort of grappling hook. He spins around again and looking at the window. He fires from the other side and the hook lands deep center of the fort. He climbs atop his desk and inhales deeply before jumping out the window.
Deep breath.
Kevin. Oh boy. Kevin drops into the snow and scrambles up the treehouse ladder. He reaches the top and shuts the hatch. He then frantically grabs the lock and secures it onto the bolt. He then crawls into the corner of the structure, breathing heavy. He reaches for the framed picture he received earlier and cradles it. There's a beat of calm when Kevin catches his breath. God, it's like art imitating life again.
Beat a calm will.
Just a lot of catching of the breath in this particular paragraph. And lots of beans as well. Certain beans.
Captain needs voice crack included. That's Captain needs you.
There's a beat of calm while Kevin catches his breath. However, as soon as Kevin steadies himself with the predator's blades.
We're losing.
The predator's blades burst through the hatch. Kevin begins to scream with fear, pressing himself against the wall as he does so. The predator emerges from the hatch and walks over to Kevin slowly, every step reverberating and echoing through the treehouse. The predator holds the knife inches from Kevin's throat. He then pulls back. Kevin closes his eyes and raises his hand.
Go ahead and do it. It's just another lousy Christmas alone anyway.
Predator looks around and notices the news clippings. He then notices the picture now sitting next to Kevin. We cut back to Kevin's face as he looks up, confused. The Predator's knives come back into frame just as they retract. Kevin looks up, confused.
Hello. That's what the Predator sounds like. For those at home.
Kevin is surprised to see the Predator turn around somberly and jump down the hatch.
Wait!
Kevin runs after him. Exterior, Kevin's backyard, moments later. Kevin chases after the giant alien as he punches the buttons on his wrist console, causing his ship to appear. Kevin stops and looks bewildered for a moment as the hatch lowers and the Predator steps in. Before the platform can lift itself, Kevin runs in after him. Interior, Predator's ship trophy room. Moments later, we find ourselves in a fog-filled alien room, filled with strange skulls, weapons, and artifacts, including a queen alien skull, among other Easter eggs. Predator steps into the room and makes his way towards the center, where we see hologram on loop. He stares at it as Kevin enters the room. Kevin walks around to the wall covered in skulls.
Huh. I guess he does have a trophy room.
Kevin walks over to the Predator watching a video. Kevin looks at the video where we see the Predator from the first Predator movie seconds before exploding. Once the bomb detonates, the video loops.
Hold the fuck up. Hold on. So just so we're clear, in this universe, it's Terminator, RoboCop, Predator, and Home Alone. So I ask you now, was Arnold Schwarzenegger a Terminator when he beat the first Predator?
He was also the governor. He does run for governor in this universe too. Yeah. Whoa, you're right. God, I didn't even... God!
No, wait. Let's think about this logically, right? So we start off with the original Predator.
Mhm.
Arnold's doing his thing. He basically just kills an alien. He's just badass in general, right?
Yeah.
Because he's a Terminator.
Exactly. No. Get this. Because the government's like, this guy is awesome. We should take all of his like physical build, all his badass shit that he does, and then turn that
And that's
into
why
a
Gray makes the
robot.
phone call. We just came up with a fan theory for something I wrote.
This also takes place pre-Judgment Day, because it's like 92, 93.
Yeah. It's 93, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
As long as it's before 97.
Yeah.
Damn.
So there you go.
Holy hell.
Perfect killing machine right there.
This is probably still going to be better than whatever the next Terminator movie is, too.
Genesis 2, The Awakening. Revenge of the Fallen.
The squeakle.
The road ship. Predator 4 shipwrecked. You put the tagline of Eddie Homer in the Chipmunks movie on top of something else, instantly becomes funnier. The squeakle. Home Alone. The squeakle. Or Home Alone shipwrecks. The road ship. National Lampoon's road trip.
Kevin looks up and notices a tear running down the Predator's face. He watches the video one more time.
Was that your brother?
The Predator slowly nods.
I get it now. You're alone. On Christmas.
Kevin reaches his hand out, holding Predators.
You can spend Christmas with me. What? What, Sam? What is so funny?
That is kind of funny. Kevin reaches his hand out, holding Predators.
No,
I'm picturing he's holding like little...
You know he's holding...
No, like little Predators. There's no apostrophe for like a Predator's hand. It's just Predators.
Griffin this for me.
I know you're doing this because like little Predators. Pulls out his hand, there's like 6 little Predators in it.
The Predator looks down at him and smiles. Interior buzzes reunite. The Predator lays on the floor playing Mortal Kombat while Kevin reassembles the alien helmets. The room is littered with alien technology, throwing discs in the dartboard, rifles, swords, and spears leaning against the wall, various metallic orbs and things about. After Kevin finishes, he holds it up to his face.
Looks like everything's working.
The Predator continues to play, but suddenly the doorbell rings, causing him to jump up and extend his knives.
No! Haha, I got it.
Exterior, Kevin's doorstep, moments later.
It's called acting, Sam. Do you want to step outside? For anybody who supports our top Patreon tier, I will fight Sam. It'll go towards a big project, but also I will fight Sam.
Dude, I'll put money towards that. Sam will too.
The entire donation is an anonymous source.
Wait, can I like hunt you predator style? Just be like, I'll text you, I'll just say, game on. You won't know when.
You're gonna call me and make the clicking noises as you're like watching me from the opposite aisle and say,
It's like a laser pointer. Dots. Just shining through your window.
dude, if you sign a laser pointer at me and I don't know you're there, we're like in a public place, I might actually have a PTSD attack. I've never been in combat. I've never seen warfare. I will have a flashback.
Fortunate it'll circle in your head.
I'm just gonna run. I'm just gonna run.
You now have incentive to support us on Patreon. I will hunt Sam this sport.
Help us hunt Sam.
Give me so I can buy equipment. Hunt Sam for sport
With a Red Ryder BB gun.
The world's most dangerous tier.
I'll record it too. I'll get a GoPro. I'll make it look
Strap
like
it to
the
my
shoulder. I'll get you. Like Sam with this GoPro. You're like, why am I? You'll see.
Just trust me.
Exterior, Kevin's doorstep, moments later. Kevin opens the door to find Sergeant Gray on his doorstep.
Hello there, son.
Kevin peeks from behind the door.
Hi.
Your parents sent us. Said your brother was attacked by some sort of monster.
Nope.
Really?
Gray looks at the hole in the door, now patched up with cardboard.
Oh wait. Yeah, that one. Yeah, saw one.
Did you happen to see where it went?
Yeah, I did.
Gray leans in.
You what?
I actually caught it. Oh wait. I actually caught it.
You what?
One sec.
Kevin leaves the door open for a moment, then comes back with a bowl resting on top of a plate. Gray leans in intrigued and confused. Kevin lifts the plate and reveals Buzz's tarantula. He then ducks behind the door again.
Anyway, my mom said I'm not supposed to talk to strangers.
Kevin begins to close the door when Gray catches it with his foot and stoops Kevin.
Stoops to Kevin's eye. It says stoops.
Okay, no, I thought it stops Kevin, but it stoops Kevin.
Stoops to I'm not that bad.
No, this is all me. You're totally fine with
Thank God.
this. You're good. Kevin begins to close the door when Gray catches it with his foot and stoops to Kevin's eye line.
You know, son, lying is a very bad habit. It can get you court-martialed.
Listen, mister.
Kevin's in the military.
Okay, right, literally everybody's pointed this out to me. I did not know that. I now know that civilians can't get court-martialed. But I feel like if I didn't know that, there's no way Kevin in 1993 could have known that.
For all we know, there was a draft that goes to 11-year-olds.
Oh, what, Bandit War?
The Soviet Union did collapse. We need every child to fight the Reds.
Same altered timeline.
This is Reagan's America right here.
Listen, mister, I'm as much of a warm-blooded patriot as the next kid, but I'm only 10 years old. My mom says that's the time in my life where my imagination runs wild. Do I think I saw an alien? Sure. But does that make it true? No. Now, if you'll excuse me, I think I left the tub running.
Gray scowls.
Sorry to disturb you, son.
Kevin closes the door for a beat before reopening it just enough to talk out.
Also, the whole court-martial thing sounds unconstitutional. I forgot I added that to retcon your,
What the hell does Kevin know about the U.S. Constitution? I sincerely doubt Kevin is a strict structuralist, okay?
What's your fourth grade like? Because I remember reading Constitution.
Hard.
He closes the door and we hear the click of the door.
I had to put quick. My favorite Disney movie, The Cluck of the Door. You know, I would play every St. Patrick's Day.
I'm just imagining like turning the doorknob and just.
No, that's totally a cluck. That's a.
It does make sense.
Yeah, no, I'm right.
Artistic liberties.
I love how this entire thing is just deferred into
I will fucking hunt you.
I will hunt for sports sake.
Nick defending his poorly written.
Well, at least we've established the format of the show, so whoever writes the next one's just gonna be a shit for the next hour and a half.
It's probably gonna be me again.
We hear the cluck of the door locking. Gray looks visibly annoyed by this. Kevin slams the door, leaving Gray in the cold.
Oh wait, I totally doubled down on that. Oops, I read it twice. Anyway.
Kevin slams the door, leaving Gray in the cold. Gray raises his arm and spins it counterclockwise, and a half a dozen soldiers climb out of the trees, bushes, snow, etc. Interior buzzes room. Moments later, Kevin runs into his room where we find a floating controller moving around. This goes on for a few seconds before Predator comes out of a shimmer to reveal that he put on his helmet and swiftly returned to playing video games.
You gotta hide!
Predator turns his head as if he was confused. If he was confuses.
God. You know what? You work hard on something, you just get judged. Everyone's a critic. The army! It's coming to take you away!
Kevin runs to the window and sees 5 or so guards posted out back.
They've got guards out back by the ship.
Predator goes over to the wall covered in weaponry and holds up a spear which promptly splits into a trident. Then after a beat, lightning begins to jump from prong to prong.
Wait, no, we can't just murder people. I have a plan.
Interior, hospital, night. Kevin's mom paces around the room, which is now full of armed guards. She makes her way over to Kevin's father, sleeping upright in one of the waiting room chairs. She looks around before gently shaking his chair, whispering, "Peter!" Kevin's father sits up, still half asleep. "Peter! Come up. We have to get out of here."
What?
"We have to go get Kevin. Do you think we can run?"
Why are you eating like Mark Wahlberg? We have to get out of here, you know? The trees are coming to life.
Listen, trees are coming to life. There's robots.
Robots everywhere.
There's
They're on Schwarzenegger. I don't know.
the trees are talking to me.
Is he a robot or what?
This isn't good hunting. What the fuck's the one that cut?
How do you like them apples?
God.
Mother Wahlberg. We take Kevin. Do you think we can rush?
Honey, they have guns. There's nothing we can do.
We pull in close on Kevin's mom, she thinks. Cut 2. Interior Kevin's house montage. Moments later. Joan Jett's bad reputation starts to place. Kevin pulls a box with Halloween written in Sharpie across the top. We are then treated to a montage of the pair setting up traps. Kevin sets up triple lines at the top of the stairs and sets toy cars under the window. We then cut to Predator and Kevin standing at the top of the basement. Predator pulls out what looks like a small light bulb and points it at Kevin. It projects a red grid on him for a brief moment. He then sticks it above the doorframe. It scans the stairway, which is missing all but a few of the steps after Kevin's star trap. It then projects an image of a perfect stairway and Kevin at the base waving. It then cuts to Predator setting up the cardboard cutouts and mannequins, which is followed by Kevin running up to them, putting Halloween masks on them. Predator then sets down a handful of hollow bulbs. Predator then flips on a smoke machine.
Predator then.
Are you about to make Kevin commit treason?
It's treason then.
As the song fades, we cut to Kevin in the living room holding up a record. He blows on it and a cloud of dust is pushed off. Interior, hospital, night. Kevin's father gets up and makes his way over to the row of vending machines. He fishes in his pocket and turns to the nearest guard.
Bad luck.
The guard does not respond and continues to stand at attention.
You knew that's what it said, you dick.
I was actually waiting.
I'm the only one who doesn't have double-sided script.
You know what? I figured it'd be easier.
Peter fishes around a little longer before producing a crumpled bill. As he smooths it out, it clutches his heart and falls over. Kevin's mom sits up and begins to shout, "Oh my god!" She runs over to where the guard is already helping him up. But as she runs, she picks up a chair and whacks the guard on the back of the head, knocking him out. She picks up the guard's large automatic rifle and begins swinging it around as her husband stands
Oh
up.
my god.
What?
Dude.
What now?
Nobody move! Now one of you is going to...
I knew the McAllisters were Reds.
What does that mean?
They're commies in disguise. What's that TV show about the family that's actually Soviet spies?
The Americans?
Yeah, the Americans. It's perfect.
Okay, at least we have our next episode planned.
Home Alone 4, The Americans.
Nobody move! Now one of you is going to take a radio for a car and you're going to take me to my son! She cocks the gun. We then cut to the hallway just outside of the room. A man takes up the left third of the frame as he pushes the door open and enters the room. He half-heartedly lifts his hands.
Am I interrupting something?
She turns to him as he reaches into his breast pocket and produces a badge.
Are you Mrs. McAllister?
Who are you? A woman enters the right side of the frame.
We're just the people you want to talk to right now.
Interior, Kevin's front door moments later. The doorbell rings and there's a moment of silence before the door is blown open. Around 20 soldiers flood the room, disperse. We cut to a close-up of Kevin again lowering a needle to a record. We then cut back to the soldiers in the living room with lights dim. Thriller by Michael Jackson fades in.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna create a Spotify playlist for anybody interested. You can listen along to reading the script. Yeah, soundtrack on Spotify maybe.
The soldiers look around and murmur to each other, confused. Interior, dense simultaneously. The soldier shines his flashlight at the stove where something's moving.
Sir!
All the troops converge on his location and shine their lights, revealing it was Buzz's tarantula crawling. Interior, kitchen simultaneously. The group moves towards the basement door where we hear Kevin's voice repeating, "I'm down here!" every couple seconds. Interior, Kevin's simultaneously. The big pickup. 30 seconds into the song, Predator emerges from the fog. Observant, the watchers will notice the fog.
Observant watchers.
Observant watchers will notice
that bad.
It's literally says observant the watchers.
Oh, well, what the fuck? Okay,
I'm not that bad, he says.
You both proofread this for me.
I did the first 8 pages.
God damn it.
The first 3.
Oh my god.
I just fixed. You fixed my mistakes, you bastard. Observant watchers will notice the fog does not interact with them, and the soldiers open fire. However, the bullets don't seem to be affecting.
It's too effective.
This is. I think this is around where it got to 11 o'clock at night, and I'm just gotta keep writing. Gotta keep it happening.
Chowders on the TV.
I'm just gonna
You
change
take
my
the
life.
moon.
Interior, we take the moon. They don't seem too affecting. He flickers, revealing that he is in fact just a hologram. Interior, then simultaneously. The atmosphere is filled with faint clicking. The soldier who had his light pointed at the spider looks up as a small army of mechanical spiders pour out of the vents, causing the soldiers to scream and fire randomly into the air.
Jesus Christ.
This is around the time in the song. And there's just a bunch of spiders attacking you.
Interior kitchen, simultaneously. Soldiers burst through the door leading into the basement, where they get to look down and they notice Ken waving. The soldier in front speaks to his shoulder walkie.
We found the boy. Approaching him now.
He signals and all the other soldiers advance, only to fall through the stairs, which flicker for a moment before disappearing, revealing a pile of soldiers.
They all fell.
Oh my god!
Was there anything beneath the soldiers, or is it just floor?
It was floor. It was
Not like some tarred up nails.
a freaking death trap. No. It's just floor in theory. I don't.
I mean, it's Kevin's. I almost said Kevin's 11.
Visit Vietnam before Vietnam visits you.
Oof. Interior, Buzz's room. Simultaneously, soldiers swing through the window, shattering it, only to slip on the Hot Wheel cars at the base. We then cut to Kevin, who is now wearing the Predator's thermal goggles and peering out from the hole in the attic. He giggles before ducking back in. Exterior, Kevin's front yard, moments later. Sergeant Grace stands outside, looking across at the air, as the air fills with gunshots and screaming, and the faint tune continuing. We then cut to an angle where we see the exterior of the house. We cut back to the other angles. The bullet whizzes past him and he ducks.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Gray cocks his gun and holds it in the air as he walks. The music gets louder and louder as he enters the doorway. He walks past the stairwell just as 3 soldiers come tumbling down the stairs. He moves straight into the living room full of screaming soldiers. He walks right up to the record player, resting against the corner wall, and empties his clip into it, stopping the music abruptly. He flips the switch, turning on the lights, and almost immediately the screams die down. He then moves around the room as the magazine falls out of the gun as he reaches into his breast pocket and loads it.
Have you all lost your damn minds?
Just then, Predator hologram pops up next to him. Soldiers train their guns as on the beast as the Gray approaches them calmly. Down the fog, the images disappear as he presents the hollow bowl to the sacredness. Scared soldiers.
We trained for this. Shoot the dog.
It's not. God, I had to check to see if I put that in there. What dog? No, there's not. Whatever. Just go to our website. You can read it there. There's no dog.
You're gonna say you can refund your money?
Please don't. I want to unsend for sport.
He looks around just before yelling out.
Report.
One of the soldiers walks up and salutes.
No sign of the child or the alien.
Evacuate the wounded. Establish a perimeter. I'll flush them out.
The soldier 3 salutes.
Yes, sir.
Soldiers start to leave the room, but before the soldier Gray was speaking to can leave the room, Gray grabs his shoulder.
Get the Mark 1 ready and await my command.
Yes, sir.
Gray begins to walk around the house, looking around.
Son? Kevin? Can't call it Kevin.
Gray pauses for a response, but of course doesn't get one.
Kevin, I just want to talk.
There's a crash, and Gray turns around to see the Predator standing by the stairs. Sergeant Gray fires 3 times into the alien to no effect. Gray cocks a smile as the Predator flickers and disappears. He makes his way over to the stairwell and bends over to pick up the bulb.
You're smart. But you're gonna have to.
As he lifts himself back up, a paint can comes swinging down. Gray turns just in time to hit him square in the face. He lays there groaning and turns as Buzz's tarantula crawls by. Gray lifts himself and makes his way towards Buzz's door.
What exactly is your plan here? You know it's only a matter of time before I find you.
As he reaches the top of the stairs, he gets snagged on the trip line. The scowl on his face grows larger. Exterior, Kevin's driveway, moments later. A soldier stands in Kevin's driveway, waving in Jeep backing into the driveway. The soldier then lifts a tarp, revealing a large box labeled Mark 1 with text in the corner saying Omni Consumer Products.
The RoboCop thing for observant listeners.
Interior, Kevin's upstairs hallway. Moments later. Gray looks up and notices the entrance to the crawl space. He smirks. When he pulls the cord, which in turn pushes Adele up, bumping up a bowling ball. The ball starts to roll slowly. It falls and lands in a canoe. We cut back to Gray smirking. He takes a step just before a segment of children's play slide comes downstairs. Gray sees this as one of the booby traps and moves his legs to the slide, moves right between him before hitting the ground.
Been doing this 47 years. I'm not about to be outsmarted by some kid.
Just as he finishes, the bowling ball comes rolling down the slide. We cut to a POV as Gray looks up and down and notices a wood triangle directly below his crotch. Then cut to a follow shot of the bowling ball as it rolls. It hits the bump, launching it into the air, but just before it makes contact, we cut to interior Buzz's room moments later. Kevin has his ear pressed against the door as a recognizable bowling strike sound effect plays. Yes!
Should have said strike. God damn it.
Kevin high-fives Predator and does a brief victory dance. Does he floss?
Yeah, definitely flosses.
I refuse to be part of this.
This is canon.
Kevin
This is expanded universe. We already went over this.
The same universe that Kevin goes on to invent a little game called Fortnite. Maybe you heard of it.
Okay, this pizza set means Kevin is flossing in 92. Even before that damn flossing kid.
Kevin high-fives Predator and does a brief victory dance before reaching over and putting an electric grill starter on the door.
Oh, wait, I should explain. So, the electric grill starter was a thing in the movie. You know the thing he hangs on the door that's like red hot and then it heats up the door? I had no idea what the hell that was, and I had to Google it for this. But yeah, it's an electric grill starter.
So
it's like a red loop that plugs into something. I don't know, and it gets red hot, and then you just shove it in your grill.
It was before our time, I guess. Right?
I don't. Yeah.
only 90s kids remember that.
Maybe still in this council.
That cut deep.
Dude, not cool. Interior, Kevin's upstairs hallway. Moments later, Gray is laying on the floor, groaning in pain before looking up at the door to Buzz's room. We hear faint giggling on the other end. He gets up and starts making his way towards the door, groaning in pain. He reaches the door, and just before grabbing the handle, a voice calls from downstairs, "Sir, it's ready!" He stops just short of grabbing the knob and turns around. Exterior, Kevin's driveway. Moments later, we are then treated to a brief suit-up sequence as Gray dons on a very 90s exosuit. Exposed wires, oddly placed hydraulics, etc., etc. We get to a full-body shot as the suit's mask then covers his face, revealing the suit's striking resemblance to the Predator's anatomy. We then cut to a POV shot as he looks through thermal sights, revealing Predator and Kevin in Buzz's room. We then cut to a shot of his face and the mask lifts. Cut to interior Buzz's room moments later. Thermal POV from Kevin's perspective, Gray making his way to the open doorway. We cut to a close-up of Kevin. He looks nervously into the camera as he lifts his snorkels. Shit. Exterior, Kevin's front yard. Moments later, the camera follows Gray as he makes his way to the doorway, where we can see the ripped up and distorted door just barely hanging onto the wall. It's basically a few hanging planks at this point. When he's about 5 feet away, a mock Predator shoulder cannon rises out of the armor. There's a brief hum as it charges, then fires straight into the blowing a massive hole in its place.
So I wanted to point out that the door, I kept on writing like that they burst through the door, and when I was reading it through, I was like, wait, like 10 different people broke down the door. So that's why he's just there and blows it up, and it's gone now.
It shows off all that sick power.
Yeah.
Kevin!
Interior, Kevin's living room continues. As he enters the living room, we hear a spring sound as the cardboard cutout of the Bulls player Michael Jordan pops up. Gray looks at it as the helmet lowers over his face, and he points an extended arm extended arm. Pardon me.
Oh, I also want to point out, in my ideal dream casting, Ray Weiss from Twin Peaks, and it's Ray Weiss, right?
Yeah, Ray
Yeah.
Wise.
Yeah.
That
So
and,
like Twin Peaks and other things play Sergeant Gray. He's here. Wait, I'll show you a photo. Everybody at home, look him up real quick.
and Reaper. Don't forget about Reaper.
Oh god,
Dude.
This dude. That dude. That's Sergeant Gray.
Tim and Eric thing as well.
Tim and Eric.
Yeah. Shrimp, as they call it.
Shrimp.
Gray looks at it as the helmet lowers over his face, and he points an extended arm at the cutout. Long knives promptly fly out, with wires still connecting to it. The makeshift alien gauntlet ripping through the standee. Gray pauses for a moment as the hump motor fills the air and electricity begins to flow through the wires, causing Mr. Jordan to burst into flames. He looks up the staircase. Cut to. Into
Whatever.
Give it time. Give it time, Sam. Interior buzzes room moments later. We cut back to Kevin, who has been following Gray's movements with his goggles. He lifts them up and turns to the Predator.
Oh, it's my line. Yeah, so he's gone crazy. We should run.
We cut back to our follow shot of Gray making his way up the stairs. We cut to a close-up of the toy car. Gray steps down, but instead of slipping, the car crunches. He continues and reaches a tripwire and walks right through it. He reaches the door, which is now glowing red hot. This does not impede Gray, though. He grabs the handle, ripping the door off its hinges and tossing it to the side.
Gray just really hates doors at this point in the movie. He's done with them. He thinks they're dumb.
It's a good character choice for me because I too am not a fan of doors.
Yeah,
They just slow you down.
Sam has a bunch of beads in his whole house. It's just beaded doorways.
Don't you dare.
Well, there's some tapestries too. I forgot. They were.
You know, the doors are just hippie music anyways. Slowing down all our thoughts and all our movements.
What?
You driving home, buddy? Or...
No. We cut interior. Kevin's living room continuous. We cut to a POV shot as Gray looks around the room to find it empty. We then cut to a close-up of his face as the helmet lowers. He then scans the room and turns to the window. We return to POV shot, this time in thermal, where we see Kevin and Predator making a break for it. Gray looks up and notices they are running towards the ship. Exterior, Kevin's backyard moments later. We see Kevin carrying a large bag with bits of alien technology poking out. Predator running towards the camera, Kevin leading the way. We hear the faint sound of a human-made laser cannon charging, followed by a large explosion and a thud as the mech suit clad Gray standing on the ground. He lifts the orb that previously fired the electric knife. Kevin and Predator keep running for a moment before the knives launch out, singing into the Predator, causing him to fall to the ground. Kevin stops in his track and looks back as the current of lightning flows through the cables into the Predator. God, there's so much reading.
No!
Run! Kevin heels over and begins digging through the backpack. He then pulls out the knife disc. Cut to a POV shot as he lines up his throw. Originally, he has it pointed towards Gray, but moves his arm to the right towards the power line. The disc soars through the air, cutting the cables before flying off into the air. Predator then gets up, ripping the knives out of his back. As he does, he lets out the loudest roar we've heard in the film, as both knives extend out of both gauntlets. Gray sparks his shoulder cannon as his shoulder cannon takes aim. He begins to charge. However, the sound is interrupted by a faint sound of whooshing. The disc suddenly comes flying back through the shoulder mount, cutting it clean off his Predator lifts his hand up, catching the disc in his gauntlet.
Okay, you want to dance?
He strikes a similar pose as the long machete-like blade pops out of either arm.
Let's dance.
Predator and Gray begin to slowly walk towards each other. This goes on for a few steps before Gray's helmet lowers and their speed increases. They are outright charging each other and meet in the middle, Gray bringing down his blades and Predator crossing his arms to block the blow. Predator spins the blades back before kicking Gray into the chest, knocking him back. Gray, who looks furious at this point, jabs at the Predator, stabbing Predator. He roars in pain before looking down. He hits the side of the blade with his palm, breaking it off the blade before swiping.
I really gotta buy thesaurus.
With his palm breaking it off the blade before swiping it at Gray's helmet, shredding.
So to explain that a jumbled ramble. So the fighting, the knife and the sword cross. I wish there was a video because I'm doing a ton of hand moves. They cross, they spin around so that they're lower. They're now at the low thing, and then Predator steps on one of the blades, the machetes on Gray's arm, and breaks it. Predator then takes a swing at him, like I will at you when people support us on Patreon and I'm hunting you for sport. Takes a swing and cuts through the mask. That's what happened in that line. I probably could have just been like, all right, so here's what happens here.
Just have a link to the YouTube video.
To draw a diagram.
Damn it.
Steam pops out of the sides and the makeshift mask pops off.
Ha! Eat it, loser.
Predator falls to his knees, clenching his chest, and starts gasping for air. We cut back to Kevin as the looks of excitement turn to one of dread. Gray looks up at Kevin.
You know what these things do, right? Have a chance. Didn't take it.
There's
still time.
There's more.
It's a theme I decided not to stay with. They go planet to planet, killing for sport. They're unfeeling monsters. They're predators. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah, like that.
Are you fucking kidding me?
You're wrong. He's just scared and alone, like I was.
What are we, some sort of Suicide Squad?
This was the perfect time for Kevin to go. And I'm home alone, and I'm Kevin, and this is versus the Predator.
I'm home alone, Kevin. Versus the Predator, who's not.
They did it. They said the name of the movie in the movie.
You're wrong. He's just scared and alone, like I was. He's my friend. They can change.
I've just about had enough of this.
Gray makes his way over to the Predator.
Ideally, I'd bring you back alive. The scientists would love to poke and prod and find out just what makes you tick.
He lines up a machete with the Predator's neck.
Then, I have nothing to hang in my office.
He raises it to the air as the music swells. As he lingers, the 3-dot laser pointer familiar to any Predator fan appears on his chest. He looks down at it and then follows it to the origin off-screen.
Huh?
The laser bolt flies through the air, hitting him right on the target, and subsequently launching it back into the house. We cut to Kevin holding an alien rifle with a smoking barrel.
But shooting a tin can. I'm fucking pleased with myself, Sam. Thanks for asking.
If it was a video, just see the wicked side eye just shot Nick and quote, like shooting a tin can.
Kevin drops the gun and runs over to Predator, who is now coughing up green glowing blood. Kevin helps him up.
Are you okay?
They get up, and Predator limps his way over to Gray next. He reaches down, grabbing his head with one hand. He cuts to Kevin with a look of shock on his face.
No!
The cut back to Predator as a ripping sound is heard, where it is revealed that he's ripping the hydraulic spine out of the suit. He looks up. He holds it up triumphantly. Change. He then lowers the spine and crushes it with his bare hands.
What that guy will do to Sam's spine if he supports us on Patreon.
We cut back to Kevin as a look of relief washes over his face. We then cut to a close-up of a walkie-talkie on Gray's hip. Sergeant, suit read flatline. Enforcement's dispatched to the McAllister residence. Over.
We gotta go.
They begin running towards the ship. Around the time they pass the treehouse, Predator hits a button on his wrist gauntlet, and the ship's shimmer disappears. The door lowers and the engines fire up. When we reach the threshold, Kevin stops, handing over the backpack full of alien weaponry. Predator looks back at Kevin, gesturing for him to come. Kevin looks down, sad.
I'm sorry, but I have to stay here.
Predator looks noticeably sad. Kevin sees this and reaches into his back pocket, producing a small box covered in festive wrapping paper. He extends it out to the Predator, who accepts it as an emotional look, washes over his face. Cut back to Kevin as tears well up in his eyes.
Because nobody should be alone on Christmas.
Predator looks down at his wrist and pops off his gauntlet. He gestures to one of the buttons on the control pad. Paul. The sound of the engines roar is the embrace for a moment. The Predator looks up and sees headlights approaching.
Go. I got this.
Kevin nods, and so does Predator, before the Predator runs up to the landing door. Kevin smiles and wipes the tears from his eyes. As he follows the ship with his eyes, it lifts into the air and takes off into the night sky. The air is quiet as he stares at the gauntlet he was gifted. A few seconds pass before the two knives pop out of it.
Buzz is gonna love this.
Suddenly, we hear guns cocking, and Kevin turns around to find himself surrounded by a dozen soldiers with guns trained on him. He promptly tucks the alien device behind his back.
Hey guys, I was just about to call you. Oh wait, I didn't.
Surrender now!
The gauntlet.
What's going on his shirt?
The gauntlet falls from behind Kevin as he lifts his hand up in the air.
So, how's your Christmas going?
There's an awkward silence before a car is heard, closing, and the voice we hear in the hospital chimes in.
Okay, that'll do for tonight, folks.
We cut to behind the shoulder shot of a man holding a badge. We then cut to a shot revealing that it's none other than Fox Mulder from the Fox TV show The X-Files. Standing behind him is Agent Scully and Kevin's parents.
Fox Mulder FBI. I'm taking
No! I have to. Fox Mulder.
We're swapping it up, baby.
Fox Mulder, FBI. We'll take it from here.
That's not very Coven.
I was like highlighting the segments, and I was like, I turned to George, just go, "How's your Duchovny?" And he was like, "What?" Frockschmolder, FBI,
Sean Connery.
The Rock. No, you gotta do Jimmy Stewart.
Frockschmolder machine. Frockschmolder machine. Watch it from here.
The soldiers lower their weapons and file up as Kevin's mom emerges from the car.
Mom,
She runs in, giving him a big hug. Giving him the big hug.
the big hug. Clears up the big stick.
This touching moment is interrupted, however, as a voice cries out hauntingly,
Kevin!
Overwatches him. Sergeant Gray, armor falling off and dragging, clutching one of the machetes. Mulder and Scully produce their guns and train them on him.
Should we take the shot?
I kind of want to see him. I kind of want to see a monologue of it first.
You let him get away. You took everything from me. 40 years of searching, hunting. God.
He gets within 10 feet of Kevin and his mother before getting tapped on the shoulder. He turns around, revealing Kevin's father standing behind him. His father pulls back his fist before punching Gray square in the jaw, knocking him out.
Wow.
Scully grabs the corner of her coat, which appears to be mic'd.
Okay, I put in brackets. I swear this is a word because no matter what I put into like Microsoft Word or Final Draft or like mic'd is not a word, but I like people use it. Is that right? Like mic'd?
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
you're gonna mic up somebody.
Yeah, you're gonna mic.
And then you're gonna put a microphone on.
Are you wearing a
I
wire?
just got mics.
You have to tell me if you're wearing a wire.
It sounds like an awful sequel to that J.D. Kennedy experiment. You just been mic'd, bro.
She went to John Kennedy experience, and I was like, "That's it."
Whoa.
Can we get medical team out here?
Kevin and his mom run over to his father, who is shaking his fist in pain. This moment is interrupted as Mulder walks over to Kevin and gets on one knee. He outstretches his hand, and Kevin shakes it.
Kevin, I've heard so much about you. Hey, you mean telling us what happened tonight? Oh wait, that was me. I think it was a mountain lion or something. No, seriously.
Scully pulls him up and leads him toward the house.
That's you.
It's not highlighted. I don't know. Come on, Mulder. Let them have a minute.
Cut back to Kevin. I'm sorry we didn't believe you, Kevin.
It's okay.
He looks up at the sky and smiles as the camera pans up.
Oh wait, is that it? Oh wait.
It's you.
No. Oh yeah. Merry Christmas, Mom.
Merry Christmas, Kevin. Shooting star passes overhead. Interior, the Predator spaceship.
Give me a fucking whiskey.
Interior, the Predator spaceship. Moments later, we find Predator sitting at the helm of the ship, looking down at the gift. He begins unwrapping it with care before we see what it is. He gets up and makes it to his trophy room, to the center of the room with a hologram.
Oh, wait, okay, all right. Makes his way to the trophy room. I'm sorry. Clearly, I could do some better proofreading. Anyway,
He hits a button, turning it off, and places the framed picture of the McAllisters and Kevin was given earlier on the pedestal. We slowly zoom in on Kevin in the picture, off screen and echoey.
because nobody should be alone on Christmas.
Fade to fucking black.
Thank you. This was Kevin versus Predator. I'll record all the after stuff by myself. I'm seeing how much of a mess this is.
That was the very first episode of the Plagiarwriters Podcast. There are so many people I'd like to thank for making this possible. George and Sam, of course, for showing up and helping me read through it. All my friends and loved ones who took time out of their day to read through it and give me notes. Sophia, Andrew, Tommy, Liberty, Hans. I'm sure I'm forgetting a couple people. I'd also like to thank my friend Rowan for posing the hypothetical to me in the first place. Musical artist Allison, who put together this intro-outro for me. I'll be providing a link to their SoundCloud in the YouTube description and on our website. As I understand it, they're going to be dropping some new music here soon. The dude on eBay selling really cheap Yetis. And what thank you would be complete without the obligatory thank you, Mom and Dad. Be sure to tune into our YouTube channel on the 1st of February when we'll be uploading an animated pitch video of the script we just read. And if you had fun with this, consider supporting us on Patreon, checking out our website, www.plagiarwriters.com, or finding us on social media, @plagiarwriters on everything. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, you said very
Go.
So let's just over clear. I will purchase you a GoPro with the intention of using that GoPro to hunt me.
No. I'll just one day I'll just come up to you. I'll hand you a box, roughly 6 by 10 feet or inches.
6 by 4.
6 by 4.
You wrote this script.
Yeah, look in September.
I'm starting to think you sold this script.
God,
You plagiarizer.
Oh my god. Hey, that's what we should call the show.
Oh my god. Fade to black.